Okay, so I think it's about time we'd start, and then if we have anybody that still would like to join, they will join us as we proceed. Good morning again, everyone. It's a beautiful opportunity to have our OBU induction day again, as is our practice. We would really like to, take people through what we do as a school, how we do it, and how we can support you to achieve a good grade in your RAP project. And so I'll just quickly take time to introduce the OBU faculty profile to us. Then I'll go into the presentation for today. And then if you do have questions, you can let us know as we proceed into the session. So every school has its own faculty. The Ivy League Associates is a school that has its faculty, and we also have the OBU offering of the school has its own faculty as well. And we have a rich profile of experienced people who would always bring their years of experience to bear in helping you to achieve success in this project. I'm sure that if not almost everyone on this call, it will be a significant portion of people that will have reached out to me directly and will have had a conversation, through the space. So I'll just, go and start with, what we offer, what we do as a school, what we stand for. The OBU faculty has seasoned mentors that have been doing this mentoring program for, a significant number of years. We have people in the faculty that, have gone through this themselves and, have their own OBU degree. So seasoned mentor. And then one of the advantage that we bring to you is this OBU induction day. Not a lot of schools, as you may know, through your research, you may have, gone through, and you will have discovered that, there is a structure that the Oxford Brookes University has, recommended for OBU mentoring. And obviously, I think that we take pride in it to say that we are the only ones that does an OBU induction day. It is the responsibility of all mentees or intending mentees to take time to familiarize themselves with what the information pack says and work with it. But we have gone a step further in our school to not only allow you go through the book yourself, we also guide you as to what you need to read. Of course, we don't also start our mentoring sections until we are very sure that you have taken time to read through. I have taken time to digest, because of course there are questions that we would ask, and if you have not read through, we would be able to know. But yeah, it's a plus that we offer at Ivy League. We do an OBU induction day. Unlike the online mentors, where an average mentor can have maybe between 400 to 500 people assigned to them. Here you have dedicated mentors, right? Looking at what you're doing, querying your thoughts. We do not in any way write the project on your behalf. We do not rewrite it as well. We only would, have our student sections as recommended by the school, query your thought patterns, help you understand how what you're writing could, lead to success or otherwise. We are dedicated to this. And then you have one person, sitting with you who is an industry expert in that field, right? We have about 20 topics in Oxford Brookes offering that they've authorized, to be a project topics. And we have seasoned experts across this field, taking you through this journey. So you can imagine. And then, of course, there's active engagement. Even though the school has recommended just 3 sessions, as per the OBU program, all you're supposed to do is have 3 sections with your line manager, as they would say, they are your mentor in this instance. Yeah. Active sessions, right? We do beyond 3 meetings. We have dedicated WhatsApp group where there is frequent communication. We pass across to you webinars that are coming so you could participate. We send to you materials that the OBU has, put on their website that can help you in writing your rap. So that active engagement, exists beyond the 3 meetings, that is recommended. Another thing that we do that is a plus for us in the school is the chapter by chapter feedback. So you write your chapter 1. There are 3 chapters, by the way. We'll get there when we start to, review what the OBU project entails, right? every chapter you send it across, you get comments that would, put you in the right direction. Maybe I should also say that the Oxford Book offering allows a doctor, for example, that is not an accountant, that is not in the finance space, to be your mentor. A doctor is eligible provided he passes, the relevant, requirements for being a mentor. The person can be your mentor. So, but then we have this extra feel. Everyone on the faculty, they are, professional accountants. They are people that are also fellows. They are experts in their own fields with myriads of experience across, the finance sector. So you can imagine that the review that a finance professional will be giving to you will be slightly different from the review that a doctor will be giving to you. So we are subject matter experts in whatever topic you've chosen, and then we add value to the project. Also, there is one exceptional offering we offer, or that we give to our students, is that we call it OBU presentation day. Now, as you go across along in your project, you're supposed to, take time to document your reflections, because of course you have an SLS. Like I said, when we get into the thrust of the matter today, we would, discuss, what that entails. So we would, we have a day dedicated to listening to you, hearing your experience, sharing the summary of your project in a 8 to 15 page slide. We sit down, you get feedback from other mentors in the group that may not necessarily have had a direct relationship with you across your project. It's just a rich, I promise you, everyone that has passed through the school can, testify to the fact that, that day it's a good one. Then you know that you have to do plagiarism check on your project just to ensure that your work does not have similarity with other people's work. We also guide you through this project. Of course, we don't do it for you. We guide you through it to ensure that your project is a success. And we have achieved significant success. I must say that our success rate is really, really high compared to, the other one. The last offering, which is not the least, is the independent review that we do. So we have a dedicated mentor that is committed to reviewing the work that you have done and the work that your mentor has done as well. And then we express an opinion, after the conclusion of your project, just a random check, just in case there's anything your mentor may have missed or that you missed, it will be flagged up, and then it just ensures that your project is a qualitative one. So these are the offerings that we have at Ivy League in the OBU faculty. So I'll quickly run through the people, my humble self. My name is Aditutu Oludare. I head the school. I have on the call with me Oladimeji Olajito. I don't know whether we have other mentors on the call. If you're on the call, you could just, let me know. We have Omolola Fashesi, we have Jonathan Ike Olumba, we have Abibola Kito, and we have Muidin Akweno. In the faculty today, there are 6 of us, including myself, and industry experts in the fields that we have. So I'll just quickly run through our profile. Like I said, my humble self, I lead the faculty. I'll leave you to read through my introduction. I also lecture in Ivy League, but yeah, I head the faculty. I have Omolola Fashesi, who is a fellow and an associate of the Institute of Chartered Accountants. She holds an MBA from the Alliance Manchester Business School, University of Manchester. She's a seasoned banker with experience in finance. She's a risk manager. She's interested in sustainability, and she's a credential holder of the fundamentals of sustainability accounting. So you can imagine that rich profile, having such a person as your mentor. You can imagine how your project will be. I'll quickly move over. Like I said, we have a very rich profile. So I'll quickly read Dimeji's profile. Dimeji is also a fellow. He has experience in governance, risk, and compliance. So what we typically would do is if we have anyone that has chosen a topic in the line of governance, in the line of risk, in the line of compliance, in the line of finance across multiple industry, then would assign such a one to Dimeji to review. He holds an MBA with specialization in strategic planning from the prestigious Edinburgh Business School in Scotland. I'm sure you're excited already, saying the profile of these people. We have Olakito Abib, who is an associate member of the Association of Certified. So all of us, yeah, we're certified accountants, yeah. Is passionate about strategy, analysis, finance, governance, risk, and compliance. So when we have, any topic that you have chosen in line with this, we align you to the subject matter experts. Abi brings, a new dimension to mentoring because he's a coach, right? He's a certified emotional intelligence specialist, and is also a member of the John Sim as well team. So you can imagine that you have a motivator, as your mentor. And then even though this people are not, specifically dedicated to you, you are in a group where you can reach out to them in case you need, anything. So I'll go over to the last two. Jonathan is also a member of the team. I'm sure that if you follow ACCA trends in Nigeria, you know that Jonathan is a serial prize winner, if I would say. He has ACCA, he has ACA, he has MNIM. She is also an alumnus of the prestigious Lagos Business School, a seasoned finance strategy consultant with over 15 years professional experience. Jonathan is a teacher. I know that, is a teacher, is one of the lecturers we also have in that takes our ACCA papers. Until recently, he was the chief learning officer, at Ivy League, and is currently a partner at Office Lord Consulting. The last but not the least is Muhyiddin Apeno, who is also a member. He holds a BSc and MSc from University of Lagos. He's a seasoned banker. So imagine if you're doing topics that have to do with financial analysis over a period, we would jolly well have, assigned you to. And then there is no topic that any of our mentors cannot handle because, of course, like I said, they have that extra edge because they are professional accountants. So there is no topic, right, that they actually cannot handle. However, we also like to, streamline it with focus so that, you could get value. So a seasoned banker and analyst of over 16 years. He loves teaching. Muhyiddin heads financial management in Ivy League. He's actually my own team leader. He has many success stories, that is accorded to his part. So that's the way our faculty is. At this point, I don't know whether there is any question before we go into the main presentation for the day. Should I pause? Do we have any question? Hello, people. I hope I'm audible.
Hello, Mrs. Adetutu.
Hi, Richard.
Yes, ma, you are.
Yeah. Okay.
No questions.
No questions at this point. Okay, so we are done with introducing the faculty itself, and we will go into the main pack. I know that Dimeji is on the call at some point. I may just hand over the presentation to him. Contents, what are we going to be discussing today that is different? Like I said, not all schools offer this OBU induction day. They just ask you to read the information pack and that will be it. Right, but what we would like you to note and things that we believe are very, very important for you would be, a basic introduction into why you would, want to embrace the Oxford Brookes offering in the first place. How is your class of degree going to be determined? Because of course it's very important. Everyone on this call wants this extra qualification, either because we want to gain we just want to gain more experience, and then we want to maybe use it in our place of work as, a tool to get us to another level, either because we want to relocate out of the country. There are so many varied reasons, why people do what they do. But then it's also very important to you that you are able to determine what your degree would be, what would be your what will be, at the end of the day when you're done, is it going to be an A, is it going to be a B, is it going to be a C? And if you have A, B, or C, what does that imply for you? We're going to be running through that. Of course, the structure of the whole project itself is divided into two basic aspects, the RAP and the SLS. We'll go into the presentation and then we'll explain, what that means. I know one thing that is very important, that, we must not, fail to talk about is the please pardon the numbering, is the project area and the data source, right? What are these 20 topics and how do you get the data for it? Yeah, then data areas and topic areas and the data requirements. Then, we like to just give you tips on, how to choose your topic and how to ensure that you're successful at it. Very important is quality control and plagiarism checks, because the school takes it very seriously. If your project is deemed to have similarity index or, similar in content, similar in feel, with that of another person's work, the school is going to frown at it, and then of course it will be referred to the academic committee group. I'm sure you don't want that stress. So from day one, you want to put in mind what to look out for, in your quality control and everything. Then how do you structure the RAP? Then we also would like to discuss the timeline for completing the RAP. There could be people on the call that have, gone through this before and they would like to resubmit. We'd like to discuss the resubmission rules. We'd like to talk about the submission fees, and then we'll talk about referencing. Thank you. So introduction, just a brief introduction. We know what the OBU offering is. It's a unique collaboration between the Brookes University and ACCA. As an ACCA student, you enjoy this privilege where you can gain a degree in applied accounting as you journey in your professional qualification. So of course there are eligibility criteria. I know that there are people that are members that have asked me question before, oh, I'm a member. I got exceptions from the financial management and financial reporting and all that. And can I still do this? Unfortunately, no, you can't again if you're a member already. But yes, if you are still a student, if you're a member already and you got exceptions, so I'm clear, from those papers, you won't be able to approach this. But if you're a member already and you didn't get an exception from this, of course, you will still be able to approach it. So the eligibility criteria, of course, it usually does an average of your scores in the applied skills examination, so that's why it doesn't expect that, because by the time you want to use this for the purpose of application for an MBA, to do other things, they will request for a transcript, and what then becomes your transcript is what you have gotten from your applied skill paper plus what you add in your project. Of course, that determines your grade in this project, and that determines your class that you finish with. So it is very important. These three papers are very important that you take them seriously. If you're still at the very elementary stage of your ACCA journey, it's important that you take them seriously, because of course they form the basis of what you get. Gained or passed, 6 papers at the learned skills and skilled level. Of course, very important that you will have passed and you will have completed your ACCA ethics and professional models. It used to be previously called professional ethics models, right? We've had a mentee before that was very dedicated and serious with his project, and then it was on the day we had our OBU presentation day that he realized that he forgot, he didn't remember that he had not done in professional ethics. He had wasted time, he had wasted money, he had wasted resources, and of course he couldn't submit that project that diet. So that submission round. So very important that you're able to check that you have ticked that box. Your ACCA ethics and professional module must be completed. It's also important that you look at the years with which you have started your ACCA. It's usually within the 10 years from your earliest date of registration, or 10 years from the date of your first exemption. So very important that you look through and you check that you meet all the criteria before you embark on this journey, so you don't get to the end and then see that you're stuck. Any inquiry, sometimes you're not clear as to what exactly whether something qualifies and all your eligibility criteria. If you have a doubt, if you need to clarify, just go ahead and reach out to students at accaglobal.com or acca at brooks.acauk. So I have the email address somewhere here. I'll share it up as it goes on. So any what's it called, any any confusion you have as to whether you're eligible or otherwise, whether there is a clause that you don't really fully understand, please feel free to reach out to us and ask. And if we still think that we need a confirmation, because it's always better that you get to the school and then you get a written confirmation as to the reason why you proceeded, despite the fact that there was a clause that may not be favorable. So we can always reach out to them, and I promise you in one day they'll respond to you their prompts. So this wrap that we have been talking about is called your research project. What exactly does it entail? It has two parts. The first one is called your research project. It should be 7,000 words. And the second one is called skills and learning statements, and it should be 2,000 words. Then you should have a PowerPoint presentation, which is what I said that typically we listen to you present on the OBU presentation day. Remember, today is called OBU induction day. There will be a day towards the end of this journey where we would have OBU presentation day, and it's this document. So you put in mind that you need a research project, 7,500 words, skills and learning statements, 2,000 words. Then you need a PowerPoint that is containing less than 20 slides. All these things are what you would need, to submit and gain access to your project. ACCA, under the offerings, the Oswald Brookes offering, they have a lot of materials that you can leverage on. I always encourage people that, want to take this project. Please don't even start until you have gone ahead to research and gain good understanding of what you want to get yourself into. It's not something that you go into and then just rush off and like, okay, I'm done, or I just want to get a project, or I just want to use this to achieve A, and then you're not settled. Take time, read the eligibility criteria, ensure that you are qualified, and if you're qualified, know exactly how to go through each of the phase. So just a little diagrammatic presentation that shows your 9 applied knowledge papers, or whether you have gotten exceptions from them, your ACCA ethics and professional module, of course, with the submission of your RAP, which is your research and analysis project, to OBU, gives you a BSc honor in applied accounting. Moving on, I'll quickly touch on how your class of grade is being determined. So already, by the time you pick your applied skilled papers, I do an average of them. If your score is from 68 upward, then it means that in your project, you must ensure that you have, whether you get an A, whether you get a B, whether you get a C, you're already a candidate for first class. I remember, I don't know whether this particular person is on the call. Person had reached out to me, and I think I had asked, for the person's average, and then he told me, I was like, okay, you would make a first class in this class. The person started laughing. I said, it's not magic. I can see already, except if you now do a project and it's a fail. Right? If it's a fail, you have to rewrite it again. And then once you're rewriting, of course, you're not eligible to get some grades again. But yeah, if you're serious with this, if you get an A, it will be a first class. If you get a B, it will be a first class. If you get a C, it will be a first class. You can imagine that, just having 68 above as your average already puts you in that pedestal. Of course, that's not to say that you should then go and sleep, because yes, people do have F in the project. So yeah, A, a B, or C qualifies you. Just a step lower, if it's a 67, you're striving to have an A or a B in this course, because once you have a C, you have upper second. Just like in the Nigerian setting, we call we have a first class, and then we say second class upper. So they call theirs upper second. So yes, if you have a C and your score is an average of 67 of your applied skill papers, then you would be having an upper second. Very important at this stage, if you have gotten an exemption from your applied skill paper, you can write to I think denial sounds very odd. You can write to Renish. You can say that you don't want that exception again, that you would like to write the papers. Then you write it, and then you'll be eligible for the for the BSc degree in applied accounting. So yeah, if you're between 60 and 65, and anytime I have candidates between 60 and 65, I always just encourage them. Yes, 60 and 65 means that's all you can have in this applied accounting OBU project is an upper second, right? So you need to strive to ensure that you're in this range. Anytime we have students that are already their average is 59, we are constantly encouraging them. Remember that if you have a C in this project, you'll be having a lower second, which is like 2-2. Of course, that's not to say that you shouldn't pursue if that's what you can get, but then you can strive to make your project an A and B. You have the resources available to you. You have people available to you that can help you through the project. So it's not supposed to be a challenge. And then all the way, if your project is, so I remember that there was a particular mentee that I had once, and then the average that the person had was 50. And then, upfront, I said that, okay, good. I know that you're interested in writing this project, but then count your cost from the beginning so you don't get to the end and then start to feel disappointed. Your average is 50 to 52. It means that irrespective of what you do in this project, provided you do not fail, if you have an A, a B, or a C, you're going to be finishing with a third class. So from the beginning, your mind is prepared that irrespective of whatever I do, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do well, right? It will still be a third class. And then I've had students say, I'm fine. I would rather, it's fine. This is what I want to do. And then they get into it. So please take time to count the costs, right? Don't get to the end of it and then realize that, oh, after the money that I spent and all that, oh, is a third class I'm getting or something. No, if your average is between 50 to 52, nothing else but the third class is going to be given. It's known, it's given already. I'm taking time to explain this so you can set your expectation already on this call. You may be able to determine, where you would be based on your performance. Very important is, I said that the RAP is divided into two. The research analysis project is divided into two. Your research report itself and your skills and learning statement. Even if you have had an A, a B, or a C in your RAP, if you fail your skills and learning project, the project is still a fail. So for people that just, I just want to do my RAP, I don't want to know, I don't care what SLS entails, then it means you are not prepared to, succeed in this project. So every part of the requirement does really count. So yes, they allow you to write your skills and learning statements again, but by the time you have a feel in it, they will hold whatever you have gotten in your upper parts. I mean, that's your RP parts. They will hold it, and then whatever you get, when you resubmit this and you pass it, and then it to be done. I know someone will be asking me, so why do people fail your skills and learning statements? We're going to get there. We're going to explain in details, what it entails and why, as qualitative as it could seem, people still feel it. So moving on to the next slide, we're going to be quickly talking about the structure of your RAP and SLS. So we have said that, your research analysis project is divided into two parts, the research report and the skills and learning statement. The research report is divided into three parts. So one is looking at the objectives, which is typically supposed to be 1,000 words. So as you're writing the project, you are also mindful of your word count. So you shouldn't have a chapter one that is more than 1,000 words. And there are things that they expect you to, address in your chapter one. We'll also get there. They want to clearly see that you understand the objective. They want to clearly see that you have thought through it. They want to ask you why you chose the project, why you chose the topic. All those things are embedded in your chapter one. And as with everything, whatever you're presenting first, your chapter one is very important. It is your first step at it, right? And if you start with a drabby chapter one, then everyone is tired already. Chapter two is bulky, right? So your chapter one is very important. It is important that you hit the nail on the head. Tell us why, what are the objectives, what is your project intended to achieve, and so on. So please take time to ensure that your chapter one is, you're hitting the ground running, you're presenting something that is excellent. Then your chapter two is basically talking about accounting techniques, business techniques, all those. If you take time to read the pack, you also understand what the focus is supposed to be here. In the new information pack that I may have shared with a few people that have reached out to me, that we will still share as soon as, a group is created, for this team. it clearly now tells you that, under your topic 1, if you're choosing this, these are the models you need to use. So at least I like the improvements that, the Oxford Brook, keeps giving, the project. So there is no place for arguments, more like, you're clear. And then by the time you're writing your project and you yourself cannot see the things that they said must be the minimum things there, then it means that you already know that, you're not heading in the right direction. So it's clear, it's precise. Everything is written down and documented. Then your part 3 is the summary. Just as part 1 is very important, of course, part 2 is also very important. People fail because of part 2. Part 3 is also very important. You're now drawing your conclusions, you're writing about your results, and you're making recommendations. So at this point, you're tying your objectives with your recommendation. So that alignment is very important. So let's assume that I say my objective is to ensure that, corporal punishment is not good in secondary schools or something. And then in my conclusion, I am not saying anything about corporal punishment. I'm not saying anything about I've just gone off, then the examiner would not be able to marry the two, because your objective must be fulfilled in your results and your conclusion. So I don't intend to take more time on this. I'm sure that as you start to engage your mentors, as you start to listen to the things we have to do, you may have question here. Very important, I must say, you can't start an OBU project if you have not read cover to cover the OBU information pack. All right, your skills and learning statements is a self-reflection, right? It is from the beginning, from your very first meeting. There are 3 statutory meetings you should have with your I don't know why I want to say line manager again, with your mentor. And these 3 statutory meetings, from day 1, you start to learn, and you're supposed to document the qualitative learnings. There are guidelines as to what you need to document, and please, like I've encouraged you, read. Why do people fail? If it's your learning, if it's what you think, if it's what you have learned, and all, why do people still fail? Because they fail to answer the questions that has been given to them. And then I've seen a project that has failed SLS before because it copied another person's work. You can imagine. And then you know that unlike the way education is at our side, it is easy to detect if you have copied someone's work. How do you copy someone's work in a self-reflection? It sounds ridiculous, but people do it. I've seen projects that have been failed before because somebody copied and pasted someone's experience. Why? What you need to do is sit down, understand from your own experience, right? What did you learn? How have you become a better person from the process? How did your mentor challenge your thought pattern? How did your approach change as you started to have communications? That's what they want you to write in 2,000 words. And there are 2 questions, so you must seek to answer them effectively. So I'll just move on to the topic areas and the data source. Very important. Like I said, information pack, the new information pack is very good. I love what they've done with it. There is each of the topic, they tell you what data source is relevant. So when you're reviewing, you already see that they're asking you that you need access to internal information. If you know you can't get it, just leave that project. Because if you cannot demonstrate that you have access to internal information and that you have used it for the purpose of this project efficiently, then there won't be a path. So it's clear. Once you know that, based on the things that you know to do, it is only a secondary data that you'll be able to access, then don't choose a topic that will require internal information. So let me just quickly run through it. There are 20 topics in all. I said that earlier. And 4 important things. It's either you're guarding the data primarily, meaning that you're doing interviews with the people charged with governance, you're sending questionnaire to staff of that organization. There will be things that you may not be able to get exactly the information that you require on the internet. So you can't just research the staff strength of an organization, how an organization is motivated or something. You can't just see. You may not see those information in details, researching online. The internal control structure of an organization and stuff like that. They are not information that you readily see on the internet. So they would require that you know the principal officers of this organization, the CFO, the MD, the HR head and all, so that they would give you access to this internal information. Typically, if you have concluded in your mind that you need to use primary, and I'm not saying primary data is not good. I have seen projects that use primary data that are excellent, and they did exceptionally well. But what thing they did from the beginning is that they ensured that they got clearance. So they will have written to OBU to say, please confirm to this institution that this information is going to be used solely for the purpose of this research project, and it will not be publicized. OBU will gladly respond and send to wherever you want them to send to, and that will be cleared. I once had a mentee that I used to work in an institution that was a bit that had similar services with the company that she wanted to research, and then I had to sign an indemnity, right? Because of course she knew what she was doing from the beginning. Okay, so yes, because you are my mentor, you get access to this internal information that you could use for the advantage of your own firm, knowing where I work. And then we had that. I signed an indemnity that this information is going to be used solely for the purpose of this research, and I am not going to use it as an undue advantage. She got that indemnity, gave it to her company, got what's it called, a clearance from OBU and all, and they gave her access to information, and she did a fantastic job. So very important that you are able to understand where the project requirements and all, and then you are also able to tell whether you need primary or secondary data. And now you don't even need to stress yourself. Go into the pack, it will tell you this topic primary data, this topic secondary data. If you insist and go ahead with that topic and do secondary, of course it's a fail from the beginning. So understand the data requirements. Then there are only information, so I think I've spoken to it. If it's secondary data, then of course they will be publicly available. If it is primary data, they will be only available in the organization, and you will need information and access, to gain through it. So please read the project, understand the topic, the data requirements gathering. There are topic areas, and we've sought to, list them here, topic ranging from budgetary and control to technology to innovation. There's no how you will find something that appeals to you here, in line with maybe I think that there was a time I had a conversation with one of the mentees, and then he wanted to determine the topic. I'm like, okay, what were you very good at, right? When you in your ATCA journey, or what are you still very good at now? What do you do currently? Those may be the pointer to what you would like to do. Oh, I work in internal audit. Oh, I do analysis of financial statement. There was a lady, that had done that I was a mentor to sometimes too. And then, she was into analysis. She was an analyst. It was easy for her. She just jumped on topic 8, then topic 8. She just picked it, and she did excellently well in that because she was leveraging on her area of strength. So in fact, I learned a lot from her too. Maybe one thing we must always mention is that in this relationship, this mentor-mentee relationship, we the mentors also learn a lot, most especially if you do your work well. There are analysis that I've read that is the reason why I have knowledge of that field today, because somebody has done the research, and I'm like reading, I'm like, oh my God, this is good. I never knew this was even happening in this particular sector. So it's always an eye-opener for us as well when you do your own work well. So look at the topics, look at your area of strength, look at what works for you, look at your ability to access the data, and then choose from the myriad of topics we have. So I won't bore you with all the topics, anything you want: organization restructuring, information technology, cost techniques, internal audit, internal control, everything you will find there. If you also would like to organize a company that is doing exceptionally well, restructuring, corporate governance, talk about it. You find them in the topic. One important thing I would like to quickly mention here is whatever topic you have chosen, most especially if it's a topic that has to do with analysis, you will then need to find 2 companies. One will be your major company. The second will be your comparator company. So the major company, you're going to be saying, oh, this company is the company you are analyzing that you're justifying, and then you're comparing it with the industry and with the second company. Another thing that that I've seen and I've read in examiners' comments is we don't just want you to do financial analysis, you just do ratio analysis. Of course, anybody can say profitability has declined or profitability has grown. Why? What are the business reasons for that decline? and what are the business reasons for that growth. So the financial statements will say a lot. And then please let me quickly mention at this point, this RAP project requires time. So it's like I don't know anyone that has worked in the capacity of a research analyst before. That's technically what you're going to do. And I must tell you, my experience in this field it's been helpful for me all through my journey, right? Because we're not just, it's not like the project you wrote. I don't know how we did our project in our undergrad days, where you just type through something and then copy something and then send to and the guy has not even read it and is giving you delays. No, this is someone is reading it. And then you must remember, if you have decided to use a publicly available information, let's assume that you want to analyze the financial statements over the past 3 years of Hyundai, for example, and you're comparing it to maybe a Volkswagen or something. That topic that you have chosen and that company that you have chosen, there are more than 10, 15 people across the world that have chosen that topic. So whoever is going to be reviewing that topic has those projects with him and has access to that information. So just imagine that you didn't do a good job. You just saw something and you're not sure, you didn't even research. And there's someone in that, that examiner has the work all done. Of course, the examiner, this is all they do. Once they see your topic, they will research about it, read through it as well. And they have the facts and figures. So if your own number is contradicting to what the industry says, it is contradicting to what they know about already, you can imagine that there will be a stress. So you're competing globally. So you must put that in mind. So you're just not analyzing financial, you are doing a business analysis. So I move on quickly to plagiarism, controls, and checks. Your RAP, it's for OBU, it is very important to them that you are original with your work. Whatever work of another person that is being quoted in your work must be adequately and appropriately referenced. So to give credence to the owner of that word. So you can't say that, oh, I just saw it somewhere. I just saw it on an by the time it is being placed on Turnitin, it will reflect that these words are not yours. And if you do not, if you have a lot, so there's a threshold, it should be less than 5%, right? If your own project passes 5%, if it's in the verge of 5, you can be pardoned. But once your project spanks and goes to from 6% to 10, it will be flagged and you'll be referred to an academic committee. Now, someone is going to ask, have I seen a project referred to academic committee before? Oh, yes. And I promise you, it's not an easy task, right? Both for the school and for the mentee. So please, from the beginning, I'm sure you also do not, it will technically be like you have stolen something because, right, you have stolen someone else's intellectual property and to be treated as such. So very important from the beginning, you are doing adequate referencing, you're scrutinizing, you're ensuring that when you're writing something, so a definition that you have heard before, it's not your word. You must look for who authored that definition and, put it appropriately. As much as possible, there will be similarity index, but it should be less than 5%. That's the statutory. So once you have it more than 5%, you have issues. So please don't cheat. Don't go and meet someone to write it for you. Don't copy someone else's work. You say, oh, he did his own in 2013 and now it's 20. They must have forgotten. It's not like that, This just ensure that is scrutinized. And then you don't want to be referred to the disciplinary committee. By the time that goes, you don't want to, because you want to write OBU now, restrict your chance of being able to go to another school, being able to do an MBA or something just because you want to copy. You really, because the verdict, it's either you're discharged or you're found guilty. But if you're found guilty in the process, you don't even want to, you don't want to go through that, and you don't want that stain on your academic record. So please be as original as possible. And then before you submit your project, ensure you run it through ITCATE, right? ITCATE is, I think I've spoken to this already. I don't need to go into it again. Availability of the data, having a comparator, ensuring that the company is listed. If you want it to be If you're looking for publicly available information, then of course it has to be a publicly listed company on major stock exchange, whether it's Nigeria, whether it's London Stock Exchange, whatever. And then, very important. So I would quickly run through the parts. So back to the parts now, objectives and overall research approach. So typically, in this area, what they would like you to do is, why did you choose the topic? Why did you choose the organization? You must have a genuine and a cogent reason, right? It could be because you work in the organization, right? So first on the topic, it could be, like I said, it could be your personal interest. It could be, when you were studying, you just loved financial management and therefore you wanted to do analysis of corporate plan of an organization. Or, it could be that, you love performance management so well, and now you want to be able to analyze how effective labor has, impacted something. So there has to be a reason. You can't just pick a topic with your gut feeling, because you need to document something. And if you have done it with your gut feeling, it should be obvious, because you will not be able to document anything reasonable. Then you should be able to justify why you chose the organization as well, right? Why you chose the organization, it could be because you work there, it could be because you have access to the information publicly, or it could be, so let's assume you are writing a project on merger and acquisition, and you decide, I'm going to use the case study of Diamond Bank and Access, right? That's the motivation for you. It recently happened in the finance sector. You know about it and you want to write about it, right? There has to be a motivation behind it. Or it could be because, I don't want publicly available information. I want to analyze motivation as an important factor to increasing output or decreasing output. And yeah, I work in HR. So you have to be able to tell the reason why you have chosen that company. It could be because it's the top player in the industry. You don't even know anything about them. You have never worked with them, but you just like to research about them. Why is this company the best in their sector? What have they done so well? What's their niche? Things like that could be the motivation for you as well. So those are part of the things that you need to be able to answer, in your first part. Another thing that is very important in your first part is your research objective and your research question. After I'm done with this research, what do I seek to answer? Do I want to know whether motivation has effectively impacted productivity? Do I want to know whether productivity has increased? 3, 4 basic research objectives that you would form as a question, because that's what it's like when you say you're building an hypothesis, right? That's what you'll be answering in, the other session. Then you're going to then be explaining the overall research approach. How do you want to achieve this? What do you want to do? I'll use primary data. I'll use secondary data. I have access to this, like that. All that for 1,000 words. That's what is required in your part 1. Then your part 2 is where you're going to be describing, more like that's what, maybe in your MSc or MBA class, that's what they call you're justifying your how I call it now, you're doing a theoretical framework, a theoretical analysis. You're looking at, okay, what does primary data mean? What does secondary data mean? What are the limitations that I would experience using this? Things like that is what you are, analyzing here. You are reviewing the accounting model. Okay, in this, you are doing motivation. Then I'm going to be analyzing using the Remitsberg's something, things like that. That's what you're documenting here. You are saying, I'm going to be using financial ratios. This is what they mean. These are the disadvantage of having ratios, things like that. Are going to be, discussing the limitation with your information gathering. If it's a primary data that you're using, you're saying, okay, yes, there's a limitation with primary data. People can deceive you. Of course, an organization that is not doing well, despite the fact that they've gotten clearance from OBU, clearance from your mentor and all, they still may not just want people to know that they're not doing well. So they could deceive you and you are not able to decipher whether they are deceiving you. Those are some limitations. And ethical issues is, okay, you work in that organization. Unfortunately, your mentor also works there or works in a competitive organization. It's an ethical consideration. So for that, my mentor, that my mentee that year, she had to document this, right? That it is a limitation. However, she was able to mitigate it. So, things like that are what they expect you to, put in your chapter 2. Then quickly over to your chapter 3 is where you will have done your analysis. You're describing your results. What did I see? You're using tables, graphs, pie chart to present your information. oh, you discover there is a growth in this, you analyze the business, you're critically evaluating your finding. After all the work you've done on the company, all the research you've done on the company, you're coming down to say, oh, I said I was going to achieve this. I achieved this because I reviewed this and this. So this is the biggest part, is 4,500 words. And then, of course, it carries more mark than every other area. This is very important to your project. Here, you are concluding to say, this was my objective, this is what I achieved, and all the way, driving it down. And then you're also comparing, at this point, you're going to be comparing the organization. So for example, you could decide it's an FMCG product that I want to review. I'm picking Unilever and its comparator. You're going to be saying, oh, Unilever has done this, moved this way, and all. The industry is doing this. The comparator has not done this, or they've done this, or they are better. So each of the ratios, each of the business analysis, each of the models, whether it's Pestel, whether it's 45 forces, whether it's whatever the model you're using, you are then using it to analyze, and then you're comparing the two companies, right? Being mindful that one is your main company. You see, Guinness and another company, whatever it is that you're analyzing, you are comparing the two, or right in this chapter. So I'll quickly speak to the word counts. Very important that your word count, everything is 4,500. Each of the chapters have their own count limits, 1,000, 2,000, and 4,500. They allow a margin of plus or minus 5%, but then, just keep within the words that have been used. And then, of course, you'll be using extract of the financial statement. All your analysis has to be included as an appendix, your workings. I would always, I think it's at this point that if Dimeji is on the call, I will just hand over to him. Dimeji, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello? Okay, all right. I wanted to do a quick example of someone I know you know very well, who had done excellently well in the project, right? Done very well. Everything all done well. And it was because of appendix that the person didn't pass the project. So appendix, formulas were missing on the appendix in the financial workings, and the person didn't pass the project. So you can everything in this OBU count, and you do not want to take anything for granted. So Dimeji, I hand over to you at this point.
Thanks, you too. So we'll go through the SLS, and just to, like Tutu has said, it's the second part of your wrap. Having done the research part, then you have to do your SLS, and in layman's terms, this is just your personal reflection. It's just you documenting how you have journeyed from deciding you're going to take the research work to how you submitting, and then you can answer some couple of questions that have been provided. And these questions are provided just to give the examiner a structure of what they are looking for in your SLS. And in your SLS, your word count is 2,000. It's going to be in PowerPoint. And you're looking at two major questions, and they're basically subdivided. First is, how have you developed personally, professionally? And the Oxford Brookes degree is not just your regular degree, because this is more future focusing. It's not about just ticking the box. It's about the relevance in your field of expertise. And like just as Tutu also mentioned, if you're an expert in data analytics, internal audit, financial reporting analysis, this speaks to you in terms of how the skills you have learned on your journey, how has it helped you to become a better person and a place of work. Some of my prior mentees, after our discussion, they realized that they've not used Excel as much as they have used when they were working on their research. Some of them even haven't made any presentations before in their life, and they have to make their first presentation to the faculties. And this more or less, these are new skills, and you will agree with me. If you're going to be a manager and a strategic decision maker in any organization, you need to know how to analyze your data. You also need to know how to present your data, right? So this journey is not just a tick the box journey. It's something we need to be particular about. So your first question is around how has this helped you, have grown professionally, and you'll be considering these two key critical point. What new skills have you acquired? Like I said, most people tend to say, oh, I know how to do more research better. I know how to analyze data better. I know how to present data better. My public speaking has improved because I know how to present my work to people virtually, and people I don't even know how to question the reasoning behind my work, and that is very helpful. Again, what challenges do you face? The examiners, and we also understand that this is not an easy task. There will be challenges. We want to know, like I said, it's you giving your side of the story on how this is how my story is on this journey. It's you having your personal reflection. So feel free to document what your experiences would be. The second question would be, how would the experience of your app help you in your future? Like I said, it is not just tick the box exercise. It's about enabling you for the future. And you want to talk about what made it more employable, your how has it improved your capability, what how has it changed anything in your future long-term plan? And a typical example, I have a mentee about 2 sessions ago who was fully in tax, was doing taxation and all of that, and he ventured into doing financial analysis of an organization, and he wanted to see the other side of financial analysis. Eventually he fell in love with financial analysis, and at the end um of our session, he was actively looking for roles in finance, and moving transiting from tax to finance. Again, that's some of the things you can document in your SLA. The examiners want to know the effect of this exercise out on you. Next slide, please. Okay, so earlier in the day, I was gonna say that I'm gonna leave this slide as a take-home assignment for everyone. And how is this going to play out? This basically is a timeline between, when you submit your wrap and when you have to completing your wrap. You have also the to mention, you have by the guidelines, minimum of 3 meetings with your mentor, and both for us at Ivy League we do way over and above that. So on if you I will ask you to go get the OBU pack, and on page 9, yeah, correct. On page 9, you will have this table, and I really want you to understand this table, and have a good understanding of what each of those steps means, because this is your journey, and this is going to be your framework with your mentor. Your mentor will also expect you to have gone through the OBU pack and understand these timelines and the framework. So I'll leave this as an assignment for you, and it's really very it's critical that we get that done, particularly before you have your meeting with your mentor. Okay, so let's move on. Next would be the submission rule, and basically there are some rules that guides the OBU degree. Tutu had mentioned some part of it, and I would just go quickly in that format. The first part is, you have to be eligible. We discussed the eligibility criteria earlier on the call. The second part is, you have to pass your research report on first attempt. This is very critical for us to understand the importance of the attention that this um, research work demands from you. And again, this is where you make a decision. Do you have the time? Is it what your effort now? Do you want to do it now? There's no pressure, but we want you to have full information. it's important you know that to have a score over if you have your first attempt, and you were not successful in that first attempt, the subsequent attempt for your research report will be capped at not more than a C grade. So what does that mean? If you have done your research so well, but you missed some part, and I'll give it a typical case that Tutu mentioned earlier. So I have a mentee who's done an amazing work, where submitted his research work, but in the file that was submitted, the appendix file, he removed all the formulas he used for his analysis, and the examiner said, hang on, you failed because I don't know if you worked this yourself or you just copy it from somewhere. There's no evidence to say it's your work, so I'm going to fail you. You have to resubmit. Now, the examiner wrote in that statement saying that he has done an amazing work. The examiner said, this is a top-notch work. However, you failed because you have refused to abide by the guidelines. You can now resubmit. That work is what a an A, maybe at the lowest rank, maybe a B, but because he's resubmitting, he's capped at scoring a C. So my point here is do the right thing the first time and get it done with. Don't consider doing a resubmission. It's not worth it. Okay? Your first attempt is your golden attempt. Get it done and close it. So give it all you have. If you're going to take time off work to do your research, if you're going to spread it over a period, if you're going to start early enough, whatever thing you want to do, it boils down to you, your planning, and it's your goal. This is your future. So give it the priority it demands. Some of us who done this about a couple of years ago, we see earn the rewards today. So I just want to encourage you and emphasize on that. Okay. Um, yeah. So going on to submission and our fees. This fees to Oxford Brookes, so not to Ivy League. So when I said our fees, it means it means Oxford Brookes. First, looking at this table, we know that our latest date to complete your professional ethics module is on the 23rd of September. To mention on the call earlier that there's one of our mentees who hasn't done professional ethics until when he was about to submit. Please don't do that. You're going to waste your time, you're going to waste your resources, and most likely you have to redo your work because if you're doing a financial analysis, the companies you have used as your basis would have issued another financial statement, and then you have to go back, and then definitely things it'll be a little bit more difficult just fine-tuning things. And imagine doing this whole lot of work again is not recommended. Your earliest submission for your wrap is on the 1st of November. So usually there's a window for you to submit, and that window starts from the 1st of November to the 9th of November 2022, right? So that window starts. So which means from now till the end of October, you must do all that you need to do. I recommend that this discount second to 9. Have your plan that you're submitting your wrap on the 1st of November. If anything fails, then you submit on the 2nd, 3rd, 5th. Don't plan to submit your wrap on the 9th of November. Please don't do that. Murphy's Law is there. Things will happen. Internet will go down. Stuff will happen. System will crash. Whatever thing we do, please let's just avoid it. If system is going to crash, let it crash on the 1st so that by 8 I have my backup ready and I can upload, please. All right. And going by, we expect that you get your result by the 22nd day in March 2023. The fees for this submission period is £470, which you'll be paying to also Brookes, and the details will definitely be available for you. In terms of submission, I don't know if the rule has changed now. you can basically still submit your research work before you make your payment, but your result will not be released until when you've cleared your debt. So just to reiterate that, this happened, during the COVID pandemic, and also Brookes was very magnanimous to say, you know what, students can go ahead and submit their research work. We will score, we will grade, but we will not release your result until when you've cleared your outstanding. Prior to now, you have to pay before you submit, but now you can submit, but you have to pay before you get your result. Okay, and if you need any other information, you have that email address, acca@brookes.ac.uk, for any other information that you will need with respect to your submission. Okay, so referencing is a very interesting topic, and if you grade by research, if you grade why people fail their rap, at the top will be referencing, and followed would be their adherence to guidelines and other things, but majority of the failure is coming from referencing. I have seen a candidate who failed the rap because they failed to reference their tables. All right. So referencing is very important. And before we go into this, I would, this is a journey. And if you're going to doing any analysis, even at your, place of work professionally, and you're quoting other people's work in making a decision, it's also important that you reference them and let people know that this is my source of my data, and they know that you're not just, fabricating those data yourself. So it's important that you dedicate time to understand what referencing is about. Referencing is largely saying, this is the work, I'm using this information, but I'm not the owner of this data. I have used this from somebody else's work, and this is the name of the person, this is the topic of the work, this is the publisher, this is the year. Referencing is very tricky. um, Oxford Brooks had adopted the APA style CPA Harvard for their referencing, and you have to understand it first. So another assignment for everyone on the call is understand what referencing is and get to familiarize yourself with it. It's unfortunate that in some of our prior research work, referencing is really not a major topic. Reference is not really a major criteria, but for the scale of work you want to do and the exposure of these institutes, that's Oxford Brooks, they have all the database of work that has been submitted. They have all the resources to find out whether or not you have referenced your work well. It's also important that the result of not referencing well has led some people to the academic committee for them to defend their work. And to be honest, they did this work themselves, but they have not referenced this their work. So the examiner is saying, oh, you said you wrote this because there's no reference into it. But I found out that it was written by somebody 2 years ago. So explain to me, why are you copying somebody's work and claiming it's yours? That's basically plagiarism. All right. So we're just going to show you a typical example. But again, this is just an example of what we want you to. You have to, by yourself, study it and ensure that you're in line. Remember, we are guiding you. This is your work, right? First, if you're going to go reference, you can quote. So there are multiple ways where you can how you can reference. You can reference the original text, and referencing the original text it's okay, but I recommend that you do this. You exercise caution if you're going to reference the original text. It's better when you paraphrase. All right, it's better when you paraphrase. When you paraphrase, you're bringing in you don't lose the meaning, but you are making you're embedding the concept, the idea of the original or work owner into your own work. So it helps even with your flow of your language, how you write, your writing style, and just ensure that you don't lose the original meaning. Okay, right? So that's basically all about around paraphrasing. And you can also summarize, which is also very important. I mean, if you have, and we mean summarizing is basically, I mean, one of the major most used style of referencing. For example, if you there's a research of how employee motivation at the place of work. Most of these research is about 30 pages and all of that. There's a research by McKinsey on digital transformation post-COVID. It's about 40 pages there. But you won't you reading all of that, you can but you want to just bring in the subject, the main point into your to support your point, right? And then you don't have to write the entire thing. Just summarize that whole lot of research work, and then put it into your work. Just ensure that your referencing is accurately as well done, right? Then you can quote. You can basically do a direct quote. So Dimeji said he's going to Ivy League later today. You can put that in quote, but the rule around um, quoting is you must be word for word. You cannot paraphrase when you are quoting. All right. Quoting is saying that this is exactly what this person said. I have not added anything. I have not taken anything out. You must ensure that, and again, ensure that you have your quotation marks in there, and make it's better. I mean, I recommend that when you're quoting, make it brief. Don't quote 5, 6, 10 lines. It's no longer quoting. You're basically copying and pasting, right? So just make sure you quote the exact word you want. Maybe it's a string of words, right? But just focus on that area that speaks to your subject, and then you can leave that in, but ensure that your referencing is well done as well. Okay, so now how do you place your reference within text, or how do you place your reference out of text? Now, there are ways you can reference individuals who owns their work. You might reference them, focus on the ideas and then reference them later, or focus on the owner and then reference them later. So first, if you're focusing on the idea, you write the subject you're discussing, and then you just quote the individuals in parentheses, just as I've said in the red font image there. The focus of the idea is the well-being of children. Is the responsibility of all professionals working with children. That's the idea. Then you are quoting your source. Okay, but in the case of focusing on the on the on the author, or the source, then you have to bring the names of the owners of the original owners of the work first before you quote their work. So you can say something like, say, according to Adam Smith, economics is; according to Dimeji, finance is; according to James Brown from McKinsey, according to a research by X, Y, and Z, the percentage of male to female on the board of directors listed in New York Stock Exchange is 60 to 40. Basically, things like that. So it's largely around where do you want to place it. There's no rule around it, but you also ensure that it flows. Apart from you writing, there's a flow that you must go through. Okay, so I encourage my mentees to have variety in their writing. Don't just write based on the sources, or just write based on the idea. Have a mix of the two. Okay, just give it a good flavor and ensure that it helps with your flow. And to wrap this up, we'll go through your RAP assessment criteria. Again, this is one other assignment you will have to work with. It basically is like a rubric. It's like your marking scheme. Let me use that word. This is your marking scheme, and it's very important. And it shows that you can attain the A grade writing of Sir Brooks. There is no ambiguity. First, you know your eligibility. Two, you know your topics and the conditions of the data you need to have. You know the topics you have to write. You know the content that should be in your topics. You know what the examiners is looking for when they are marking your scheme, which is what is you're saying now, your RAP assessment criteria. What else would hold you from scoring A, right? So when you know what you have to do and what your examiners will be looking for, then it's important for you to, to merge these two together, bring this together, your idea, your subject matter, what the examiner is expecting for. For me, I discount, when most of my mentees, when I speak to them, I said discount B, C, and D. Just delete that word stuff. What you want to focus on is your pass grade A. What does the examiner want? Take an example of your understanding your accountancy and business mode. The examiner wants to see evidence of wider reading. You do not just want to read your ACCA materials and write this research. Please don't do it. Do a bit of research. There's research by McKinsey, research by BCG, there's research by KPMG, PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. There's just a lot of um, research material there. And not only look into professional materials, also look at textbooks, look at journals. You can basically get a whole lot from journals to support your work. There are research that have been done on motivation, on financial risks. There's so much information out there for you to harvest. I think one of the your challenge you might have is information overload. Being able to identify, what information is relevant and what information is not. There is no fast lane to this. You have to know what you want, then go through all those data, silence the noise, and focus on the work that you will need, the data you will need for your research. Okay, so the examiners want to see the content. They not just want you to write English. The application, again, insightful and critical application of your theory. So I, I give this an example. When you're doing an analysis and you see that revenue has gone down by 20% or has gone up by 5%, most of the time I see some mentees, right, revenue went down by 5% because sales has reduced. Obviously, sales reduced. That's why revenue went down. But that is not a critical. That is not insightful, right? That's not insightful. So what is insightful is why. So I recommend this to most of the mentees I work with. Use the 5 whys or use your fishbone analysis to determine what happened. You're going on a fact-finding journey. All right. So the 5 why revenue went down. Why? Is it due to inflation? Now, take for example, there are some industries that are fully exposed to inflationary pressures. For example, groceries, foods. So or luxurious item. People would using the law of need. People really want to survive before they start buying luxurious things. So if your target industry or your target company is in that space, currently there's global inflationary pressure across the world, from North America to Europe, but even back to Nigeria. So you're seeing some industries are shrinking because there's inflationary pressures. The purchasing power of individuals has reduced. So now they are changing their priorities. So individuals are now buying food for sustaining themselves rather than going to buy food that is just for luxury or just just not feeling. So those are kind of analysis and insights you will want to have and not just write revenue has gone up. Again, what's happening in the industry? Is there a new competitor in the market? Is there a new substitute in the market? Is there what's the competitor? What's the average growth rate? Again, what is the life cycle of the industry? Is it growing? Is it at maturity? Is it declining? You need to have the entire discussion, not just looking at one line item, right? Not one single thing affects your revenue. Multiple things affect revenue. So to give your examiner a grade A level kind of insight, you need to bring them all together in a good, smooth way, right? Again, the evaluation of your information, your critical thought, you have to write clearly. You have to write clearly. Now, I said this over and over again. This research work is different from your traditional research work that you do in your university. While I was in university, I will meet my lecturer. I will explain myself to my lecturer. And then my lecturer will also explain himself to me. So we have that physical one-on-one conversation. In this instance, the only thing that connects you with your examiner is the words that you have submitted. The only thing, you will not see your examiner. The only thing that connects you to your examiner is the English words that you have written. So imagine I don't know you, I don't know how you look, I don't know if you can speak well or write well, and then you submit a work from me and I don't understand what you're saying, but I can't reach you to explain to me. What do you think would happen? I would consider that you have not written this well, and then you have a F grade. Okay,
Absolutely.
so you need
Absolutely.
to be able to put this in context that the only thing that connects you with your examiner is the English language that you are. So make sure that you write good English. Let's use a good flow. Your adjective, your conjunction, your paragraphing, your spacing is very important. It's all part of the marking criteria. Okay, so for the rest, again, your presentation slides, you when you're writing your SLS and all that, we encourage that you use graph. Use graphs. Don't just put in all the words in there. Use graphs. Ensure that you can use pie chart, table charts, all that, just to make sure that it's really a presentation. Make it a presentation, not people reading through your lines. So I mean, so I'll say that is largely all from the rest of this. And again, all of these are all in the information pack. So again, I recommend you go back to that information pack and start your study from there. Start your journey from understanding the information pack. And every other thing we have said on this call, they are all in the information pack. So please spend some time to go through it. So Tutu, I'll
Yeah.
take it back to you. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Dimeji. Thanks for that apt description of the things we need to do. Really, we can't overemphasize what is needed. I think I'll just leverage on what Dimeji had said. It is Oxford Brookes projects that it is only Oxford Brookes projects that I've seen. They've told you if you need, this is what you need to do. They provide the resources, they provide the linkage, they provide what you also need to pass. So really, there's no need, there's no excuse for you not to pass. So if I were you, I would just, ensure that I read through this information pack. But really, we don't even start to have engagement with our mentees until we're sure that they have thoroughly understood what is required of them. I must at this point also say that at Ivy League, the OBU mentoring faculty, we do not write projects for people. So if you want someone that will write a project for you, I would say that you're in the wrong place now. We do not write projects for people. You do it yourself. And then if for example, you have done your thorough analysis, you bring an A game to the table. If you bring a 50% score already, would work on it, would challenge your thought, and then perhaps you could get a 70. If you have a 10% work, no matter the extent of work we do on it, even if we had 40 to it, if it's 10%, you'll barely be at 50. So it is 100% your responsibility to ensure this project is a success. You have the tools, you have everything available for you. We will support you in this project. But then, I'm a typical Yoruba girl, and then there's a proverbs in Yoruba that says that it's a child that lifts his hand that the father carries, right? Please lift your hands. We are happy to carry you through this process. However, we need you to, bring your A game to the table so that, we can embellish it, make the cake right? I'm sure you know that the making of the cake is when the cake is done. Icing is just, the embellishing. We will do the icing on the cake for you. The quality of the cake is yours. Bake it well with all the things that we have spoken to. I'm sure that someone would want to ask me, oh, how much do we charge in Ivy League? I'm sure that you really cannot, pay the quality of experience that everyone does have and brings to the table. Everyone that does this work, we don't do it because we want a pay. We do it because we want to add value. Because really, if it was to be to the pay, of course, the charge will be way more than that, because you really cannot quantify the time and the extent of relationship and experience will bring to bear on your table. But however, I'm sure you know that inflation in Nigeria is on the rise. Dimeji rightly mentioned it. And then we have still retained our price. We have not even changed it. So it's to tell you how magnanimous we are, and to show you that this is really service to humanity. The charge for our OBU service is 70,000 naira. If you go online today and you were to get a mentor, you would need between $1,000 upward, $2,000. Yeah. And you can imagine how much that is in naira today. You can go and check. We are not afraid to tell you to go and research online. But yeah, just because we understand the terrains and we understand the requirements, we're still restricting our fees to 70K. And of course, we do not start to have engagements with you until you have, done relevant clearance with the administration team, and then they pass you over to us. We don't handle money for the team at all. We are just full of qualified mentors and we do our work. We don't do anything administrative in this regard. So just on the last note before we open the floor for questions, Dimeji took us through what our SLS entails, and these are the criteria to pass it. Your communication, very important. I know that people will say, grammar, I don't like. A girl reached out to me recently. She said she wanted to do a course, a master's or something. I said, oh, good. Then you have to write an essay. She wanted me to guide her through. So I told her that she needs to write an essay, apply to schools. And she says, there I go. I said, what happens? I said the essay, she's not good at it. She cannot write essay. I'm like, okay. It wasn't a mistake that at the start of our journey in life, they took us through English classes and told us to write essay, taught us punctuations, taught us all those things. It's because they know that the higher you go, you will need this thing. So it is time to prove yourself. Please be grammatically correct, right? And don't forget that you also cannot afford to just put your project on any site because of similarity index. So if you copy your project because you want English to be correct, put it on Grammarly and all, it will record in the what's it called? In the memory of the system, and then it will be seen as another person's work. So just be careful. Be careful with what you write precisely, write correctly, punctuate accurately. Ensure that your grammar check is 100% and top notch, and reference, right? If you need to refer to the work of another person in your SLS, ensure it is referenced. As much as possible, you really do not need to refer, but should you need to, please ensure that is adequately referenced, and then yes, you would have good success. Be clear, be your spreadsheet in your submission. Please, I would always refer to the guy, that had that issue in any of my communication, because like Dimeji said, the examiner said that this project is top notch. I still have the comments. I still have that thing with me. And then of course it was limited to a C on his resubmission just because they did not read through the instructions. So I implore everyone on this call today to read through the instructions. A lot of materials exist today that you can use to understand. And then I promise you, you're not reading to write an exam, you're reading to put information in mind. So it's actually not difficult. Take time to read it, and then you can't even finish reading it, right? Even when you've gone through it again at different intervals, you still need to go to it and refer to it when you need to make some decisions. So I implore us to ensure we make it a success. I'll open the floor for questions now, if there are any. And sorry, before I go to the questions, this is our intended activity schedule. This is the OBU faculty calendar. We have the OBU induction day, which is what we're doing today. Then we will allocate you to mentors, and then on that day that you get your allocation, is expected that you have your first meeting, with your mentor. I think that we can do allocation as soon as we have a lot of people, registering, but we don't just want to delay, we want to hit the ground running. Then you have your second meeting on August 22nd. So you can imagine that diagram that Dimeji has given you as an assignment. Please go and study it. Before you come to your mentor, you should have decided the topic you want to do. You should come already knowing that this is what I want to do. We would send you a questionnaire as soon as we receive notification of payments. We'll send you a questionnaire to help you just document what you want to do, so it will help us in the mentor allocation. Then you have your third meeting, September 17. Please ensure that you are accountable to these deadlines. If you don't meet up with them, it would be a difficulty on our own part. So if you meet up with them, we want to give you enough time. So we intend to have our mentees SLS presentation and final wrap check by October 15, such that you have time to take comments, take reviews. We have communicated timetables out in the past, and we know mentees that do not stick to it. As far as practicable this time, we're going to hold you accountable for missed deadlines. So it is very important we communicate this date to you. If you miss August 3rd, it is you that have missed that, and we'll start to hold you accountable to it and hold you in action, so that at the end of the day, you do not, give the mentor unnecessary pressure. Remember, everybody on this call have different things that they do day to day. So this is also actually planned. So if you, because of your own mixed deadline and all affects the timelines, then you'll be eating and encroaching into the time of the mentor. And then we do as much as possible, we want to avoid that. So we'll call you out on time, right? We would say Tutu has missed first meeting deadline. Please note, we'll drop it in the group. You would justify why you have missed it. And if you're not going to be able to submit from day one, you already know that you are the one that is accountable or responsible for whatever has happened to you. So I thought to share that. So you could raise your hands. I see hands are raised. There was a question that I read in the chat. Let me start with that. Then we'll go to the answers. The answer are raised. Someone was asking, I think it was Richard, asking if a paper is written twice. So if you have written a paper twice, it is your most recent score that will be used, not the paper that you failed. So it's ignored. The paper you failed is ignored, and then your most recent score is used. So, Richard, if that doesn't answer you well, just raise your hands again and let us know.
It does. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I saw someone raising their hands earlier. I can't see the hand raised again. Please, if you do have questions, the floor is open now. So Martina goes first.
Hi, Tutu. Good
Hi,
morning.
Martina.
Good morning. Basically, I don't how are mentors allocated, and if you're allocated to a mentor, do you still have like the entire mentors to sort of reach out, or you only have to be communicating with that one person that you have been allocated to?
Okay, thank you, Martina. So mentors are allocated by us in the faculty. We would, like I said, after today, we will send out for the people that have, indicated interest and have, made the payment. We'll send like a questionnaire to you, where we would already see what topic you have thought through that you want to do. We can give you 2-3 days to settle, so that you will have researched well and you can choose the topic you already think you want to do. And then we'll allocate you to a mentor, based on availability of mentors in our faculty and based on their experience and the topic you have chosen as well. Now, you have access to that mentor because you have a dedicated mentor. However, there will also be a WhatsApp group where all the mentors will be in. I promise you that you would enjoy conversing with your mentor, but should you still need to reach out to any of the mentors, you can drop a message in that WhatsApp group. It's going to be for general communication, general inquiries, and all that can be done in that group. So as soon as you have made your payments, the admin team will add you to that group for ease of monitoring and administration. And then, of course, you have access to the pool of the mentors. Martina, does that answer you?
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, Namdi, and please raise your hand if you do have questions so we can take them. Namdi, over to you.
Thanks for the conversation and the open day. I just want to know, you mentioned something around the grades you may have if you have taken ACCA, the A's, B's, and C's. But I know when I check the when I check my transcript, I know only what I see is a pass or a pass rather, pass or fail. So I just if they download if we fail before a particular course. So I want to know how do I get to see the area, maybe my pass marks from my, do I have to request that specifically from ACC in any way, or is there any way I can do that so that at least I can start, getting to know what maybe my grades would be. Then again, the information pack you talked about, how we get it from the website, or is there an intention to share maybe the pack so that we could start looking at it?
Okay, thanks for your question. I would expect that you have an idea of what your grade will be, saying that they will have sent you emails as to on the day when your result was released, you will have seen whether it was a 69, 30, 100, whatever it is, you will have it. However, if you don't remember those things anymore and you can't refer to the email, you can also download it. So if you go to your transcript so far, there's a place where you can download the history. I think is some history page on your My ACCA, you also see your grades there. So they are not hidden. Your grades are there. Even if you're a member. So for me, recently, I think like last week, I still downloaded all my grades, all the marks that I had. I wanted to do something, maybe last month or 2 months ago. And I could see, I downloaded a transcript. I could see all my scores, as I journeyed in the ACCA. And this is me that has finished ACCA for a while. Right, this is over 6 or 7 years after I've finished. I could still download my my pass rates, and I got my exact scores. So I'm sure you'll be able to download it. Then for the information pack, so the information is readily available everywhere, but I also put it here for you. I can also, as soon as you register to pay in the group, all these materials will be shared. This are there. You can go to YouTube. These are additional resources. ACCA, OBU, Applied Accounting, they have a YouTube channel where you can listen to short videos. You can so that you can understand, what exactly you need to do and all. The upcoming webinars are also, on their website. You can also read examiners' article as to how people have performed in the past, what people looked out for. And then, of course, the assignments that the media had given to you on advert referencing, you can also, look through it here. So we really have these resources, and then the information pack will be shared with, is on the internet as soon as you access all this. And then as soon as you register, I would forward all the materials. For people that have reached out to me one-on-one, I think I have forwarded those materials to you. If you do need it, happy to share with you. Thank you. Do we have any other question?
Yes, please. Tutu, I raise my hand again.
Okay.
Can you please maybe take us through the how to get your score? Because I think I joined just as you were on the last one, so I didn't want to take us back. So because I'm a bit confused.
Okay, you mean your grade?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll go back to that slide quickly. This slide. Yeah. So I said that if you have 68 and above, 68 and above, whether you have an A or B or a C in your project, you have a first class. If you're at 67, on the mark of 67, you need A or B to have a first class, otherwise you have an upper second. If you're at 66 on the dot, only an A in your project will give you a first class. A B or a C gives you an upper second. If you're between 60 to 65, you cannot have a first class. You can only have upper second with A, B, or C. This is me assuming that, of course, you will not fail. If you have 59, only A and B will give you an upper second. If you have 59, if you have a C, you have a lower second, which is like 2-2. If you have 58 on the dot, only an A will give you an upper second. A B and a C will give you a lower second. If you are between 54 and 57, you cannot have an upper second. You can only have a lower second, whether you have an A, a B, or a C. If you are 53, only an A and a B gives you a lower second. If you have a C, you have a third class. If you are between 50 to 52, you cannot have a first class, you cannot have an upper second, you cannot have a lower second, you can only have a third class. So you need to look at this and then consider whether you still want to pursue this journey. Is it clear?
Also, we have to take all our courses and sort of do an average for the skills papers that we've written.
Your applied skilled papers, yes.
Okay,
So if you did not get exemption from paper financial performance reporting, so you start from performance reporting all the way. If you got exemptions, you can, and you still want to do this, you can relinquish your exception because that's what they will use for transcript, right? If you got exception from all the applied skill papers, then there will be nothing to use as your transcripts. So if you got an exception, you can relinquish it. Just ensure that you have a pass. So you're going to be looking at your paper, your 3 papers, in your applied skills, your financial reporting, your audit, and your financial management. The average of those papers, is what you should be looking at.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Do we have any other question? I hope I'm still audible. Hello? Am I still audible?
Yes,
You are.
Okay.
There's some questions in the chat box.
Oh, okay. Okay, just hold on. Let me. Okay, so I see Baka Balam. You have a question while I go to the chat box. Let me check. Please go ahead, Baka. Can you go ahead, Baka? Ibrahim, he says, hello, Ivy League. Please, is it compulsory to complete my ETIS module before November submission? I missed the explanation on that. Ibrahim, yes, you must complete your ETIS module, otherwise you will not be eligible for submission. And 2KLT says, is it the total average of all applied skills? Or okay, so yes, it's just the average of FR, AA, and FM. Please, if someone has a justifiable reason, e.g. illness, for missing a meeting, e.g. second meeting, can the mentor schedule another meeting just for the person? Okay, so yes, we understand that things happen, but then you must effectively communicate with your mentor. Otherwise, we'll charge it against you. So yes, please effectively we understand that illness, family matters and all could arise. So just ensure that there's an effective communication and a next meeting will be scheduled for you once we can see there's a justifiable reason, just as you said. Just to be clear, CBL is included in the average, right? CBL, no, your CBLs are not included in the average. What papers do we add? If I start from foundation, professional, do I add all or just the skill papers? So it's just your applied 3 papers in your applied skills, are relevant here, which is the reason why people that did ICANN that are transitioning, they need to take the papers because, that becomes your transcript. So your financial management, your AA and your FR. I think I've answered the questions in the chat. So, Baka, I apologize if I didn't pronounce your name well. Hello?
Yes, hello. Hello.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, so my question is regards to the quantitative analysis. So earlier you were stating that we could implement financial ratios. But is it flexible for one to implement other non-accounting analysis like linear regressions?
Okay, so it has to be supported with accounting analysis. So it's not a statistical project. Yes, if you think a linear regression would aid the understanding, is fine. However, you can't have change in profitability, change and growth in sales, and then you're only talking linear analysis. Of course, you remember it's a financial work you're doing. So yes, you must corroborate it. You can corroborate it with linear regression, but you must use accounting analysis, must.
Okay, all right.
Except
Thank
it
you
is
very much.
absolutely impracticable. So for example, if you understand, so for example, if you're doing the impact of motivation, right? It's okay for you to use XPSS, to do analysis and then bring in your linear regression, because in those instances, there are no obvious financial analysis that you can bring in, right? But then, of course, in that instance, you must bring your business analysis, use your linear regressions, use all the other things you are bringing into the table. Yes, that will be fine. But if it is analyzing the financial statement of an organization over the past 3 years and then you're doing a linear regression, you're going far. So in line with your topic, create it.
If the company is doing bad and I want to corroborate whereby the macroeconomic scale of the country is not good, so can I bring in all the other factors, the inflation and all that?
Oh yes, you can bring in anything that helps you to bring to explain what you're doing and bring the knowledge to bear. However, don't lose the most important thing. You're analyzing the financial statements of an organization in the past 3 years. You don't use linear regression as opposed to financial analysis. It has to be an addition. It can't replace it.
Okay, all right, well understood. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other question? Okay, yeah. So Kende, yes,
Yes, I have
go
a
ahead.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for topic 5, are we expected to type the whole financial statements for the 3-year period in the Microsoft Excel sheet? And with the words in the Excel, will it count as part of the total 7,500 words
No,
for it? Oh,
no.
it won't
So
count.
it won't count. So anything you have in your appendix does not impact your word count. It is only the things you have in your word that impacts your word count. Then yes, all your financial statement of financial position, you transpose it to Excel. Your income statement, you transpose it to Excel because that's what you're analyzing. So all, right? Of course, not the bulky, there are significant pages on the financials, your balance sheet and your income statements. Yes, everything must be on the word. Then you analyze it. And then if you need to bring in additional things that is in the additional information that will also aid your analysis, yes, it's okay to do that as well. So yes, everything on your balance sheet must be there because that's what you're analyzing.
Okay, and I want to confirm. I didn't get what the previous speaker said. He said that we should type the formulas, like let's say for gross profit margin, you should put gross profit over revenue
Oh yeah.
in the Excel sheet. Okay.
No, so on the Excel, right, there is
Yeah.
gross profits. So you would have a gross body margin and there will be a formula. Of course, it's not like you're typing gross profits is no. We can see it, right? There's a formula. You're dividing your gross profit divided by your sales is giving you a figure and it has to be adequately named. Then we should see the formula. It's an Excel you're using. Let's see how you arrived at it. So what that person had done is when he was done, it value pasted everything, didn't put any formula. They were only just seeing figures. And that doesn't count for a pass. Yes. So all your gross profit margin, your net profit margin, your cost to income ratio, your ROC, your PB, everything, how you arrived at anything you are putting in the graph. Maybe it's the change in sales, maybe it's the change in cost. Everything must be formularized and left that way on your Excel.
Okay. And one last question or two last questions. Number one, with these slides, will it be shared to the group? And number two, like for topic 5, I want to focus on topic 5. Let's say I'm doing per se analysis. Can I link information from the financial analysis to like the political environment and economical environment? Can I interlink discussions, or should I just
Absolutely. No,
okay?
absolutely. You can't speak, you can't discuss your financial analysis and assume that when you get to business, you forget financials. No, it has to be interlinked. Anybody reading can see the change. So if you want to talk about the political environment and it was politics that's affecting, so just like inflationary measures on your economic environment, right? That is impacting sales. So maybe we're seeing an artificial change in their sales now. It's just inflation. Maybe it's even FX, right? Maybe it's not that they have made more profits, right? Because Naira to dollar has gone haywire. By the time they have a foreign subsidiary, by the time they convert, it's now looking better. You will put that in your economic environment. So yes, everything has to be interlinked.
Okay, and I surely focus on the 3 years, like 2019, 2020, 2021. I should not should I like tailor my analysis to like recent information. I should not do that. So I should just focus
No,
on
so company that has performed exceptionally well in the past 3 years is the most recent 3 years, right? So in 2022, it will be 2021, 2020, and 2019. So those are the recent information that you will be using.
Okay. Thank you.
You need to read the information pack.
Yes, you need
to read the information pack.
Yeah.
Because those things are clearly spelled out there. But yeah, fine. Good questions. Yeah. Okay, over to you, Tim.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Yeah,
Tim.
please, I wanted clarification because I have been making my calculations based on the assumption that the average that would determine my grade was based on all my 6 skills exams. I started from the very foundation, AB, and all up onto my last skills and ethics exams. And I just, when you mentioned that it's just EE, FR, and FM that counts, I kind of ran into a bit of panic because my average in this doesn't even, because my best scores were in tax, you're in tax and CBL. And so I quickly ran to Google to do a quick Google search, just to be sure, because it automatically determines if I'm going to do this or not. It says if that the skills, the average mark you gain from your class of degree is dependent on the average mark you gain from the applied skills exam and the grade you achieve in your RAP. If you have been given an exemption from any of the 3 papers, CBL, PM, and tax, no mark is available. So I'm assuming that if you're not
exactly, so let me clarify
like
so that I don't get you confused, right? So yes, there are people that have gotten exemptions from the first 2 papers or 3 papers in the skilled paper. Now, before you are eligible to do this, you must have passed these 3 papers that I've spoken about: your financial reporting, your audit, and your FM. Now, if you have not passed them and you're currently doing them, you're also eligible. Only that for your results to come out successful, you must pass this. So I've had mentees in the past where they had not passed this, but they recently wrote the exam and they were sure they would pass, and they still went ahead with this, they did it. If you have exemptions from your initial papers, and there are 5 papers in that phase, if you have exemptions, these 3 will count. If you don't have exemptions, they will add it to the average there. So don't have panic. Your marks still qualify.
Sorry, I just want to be clear again. You said 5, not 6. Yeah, 6 skills papers.
So tell me what they are. Is it not your performance management? Your performance
PM,
management.
FM,
It starts from performance management, right? Then your tax.
Yeah, CBL.
Yes. So is that 6 or 5?
CBL. Yeah,
well,
CBL
whatever you have in your CBL is not there. Is CBL not is CBL an applied skill paper? Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
It's an applied skill.
All right. It's fine. You must have gotten 90% in your CBL.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. It's fine. Yes. Just ensure that they qualify as you apply. I used to think they were 5, but now, yeah, if it's 6, it's fine.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
But yes, you're just to allay your fare, you applied skills papers, yes. But if you got exemptions, most especially for accounting graduates that would typically get exemptions, you don't have to forfeit that exemption. They will just do the average of these 3 for you. But if you are crossing over from ICANN and you got exemptions from these 3 papers, you have to forfeit the exemption to be able to be eligible. So can you see how it graduates depending on what level you find yourself?
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Simply J.
Hi, Adetutu. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So good to hear from you again.
Oh my God, so you know me.
Very well.
All
Very well.
right.
Since 2019. Old
Oh, okay.
IB building. Let me go straight to the
Oh,
question.
all
I
right.
think I was reading, I'm not sure, I think it's the old pack I was reading. That's for the last submission period. So from what I was saying concerning period, I think topic 5 that everyone has been talking about performance of how performance of a company for the past 3 years, and I saw like an exemption clause there that you must
Okay.
not state COVID something something that COVID-19 this thing must not be part of your reasons. I don't know if it's still applicable now.
Yes, you need to read the new information pack. Information
Mhm.
packs change, and sometimes the information that has changed may not be too significant, but it is very important that you're reading the most recent one. Yes, the reason is because, they then discovered that everyone kept mentioning that the reason for growth or change is COVID-19. Say, yeah, we know that COVID-19 has impacted things, right? But tell us things aside COVID-19. So that's why that clause was introduced. Just bring other things that has made the company perform exceptionally well, exceptionally poorly. Topic 5 has a reverse. While topic 5 is checking a company that has performed exceptionally well, there's another topic that is
Yes.
poorly. Yeah. So just don't we know about COVID-19 again. Don't bring it to our face, right? Just tell us why this company has done well in the industry and what accounted for it aside COVID-19. Yeah.
Yes, so definitely, even if I'm picking a company and COVID-19 actually helped them do better or do worse, if that was the key factor, should I just have to look for another company instead?
So I don't think that there will be no other one. So yes, COVID-19 has helped people either do badly or poorly. So just detach your mind from that and look for other things. And if you can't find, then of course, by all means, look for another topic. Because it's clearly
Sorry,
written,
about
right?
yes, yes, yes. It's well written. All right, about the appendix and this thing, I think someone asked about. I'm not sure. Is it also part of the word count? Like we need to know what's part of the word count and not what's
No,
not
it's
part
not.
of the word
Your
count. So,
appendixes are not part
so
of your word count. Hello?
okay, okay, I'm
Am
with
I
you. I'm
still
with you.
audible? Yeah. Your appendices do not form part of your word count. So yeah, it's fine. Don't
Lastly,
forget that in your
ethics module.
appendix, you would, okay.
Sorry, lastly, ethics module. I did the first ethics module. I think it was 2017, where they had a deadline that if you didn't do it, you have to do the new one. So I
Yes,
think
I
I
hope
did
you
it
passed
like
it then.
yes, I passed it like a week to the
All right.
deadline.
Okay.
So do I have to do another one?
No. If you have
Okay,
done
this.
that one, and please go and check your records and ensure that it is updated for you. If you have done that, you don't need to do the new one. I think the new one has a fee, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, about 52 points. Yeah, I've done the old one. It even has a certificate, ethics certificate.
Yes,
So
so
I think
it's
that's all.
fine.
Thank you very
So
much, ma'am.
you're welcome. So once you have done that, you're fine. All right. Richard.
Hi, okay. So I'm going to ask, for me to get my BSc and MSc, is there any need to travel abroad, or can I do everything here in Nigeria?
Okay, so if it's your for your graduation, yes, I'm sure that you might want to go to school to celebrate with your other colleagues. They give you that opportunity. They will give you an invite to come to the school to celebrate with your other colleagues. Of course, your certificate does not show that you did it distant learning. So yes, for your
Okay.
graduation, if you choose to travel, yes, you can. An invitation will be sent to
Okay.
you. You will go to school. Dimeji, please share your experience. Hi, Dimeji, are you still there?
Sorry, I did to sorry to have to budge back in concerning this
Okay.
graduation. I don't know was it be reviewed because I used to know previously that people from Africa they asked to go to Dubai for graduation,
Yeah.
and if you are going to go
There's
to
a
UK for
region.
graduation,
Go
is it
ahead.
still the same? Like you have
Go
to have a
ahead.
visa before they can allow you come to the UK. So I don't know if
Oh,
if
yes.
it's still the same.
So for any school, even if you had attended, you wanted to attend the school physically, you need visa. right? So for Nigerians that want to do their graduation and do not have a visa, they have the option to go to Dubai. But what then happens is the school also is willing to send you an invite, which helps and facilitates your visa processing. Of course, it's just a visiting visa, not the visa you get and jackpot. So they're happy they're happy to send you an invite to say, oh, you attended the school, they state your results, state a few things, give you that form, and then that you can take to the embassy to use to apply for your visa. Of course, your visa application is also a function of other factors aside the invitation they send to you, right? So there are people that, despite the fact that they've gotten that invitation, still didn't get the visa. So maybe there was inconsistency in their financial records or something. But then it gives you a plus that you have an invitation from a school. It's always a plus. So a lot of people, they get the visa. And then if you're not able to get it, you can always go to Dubai, that you get the visa on arrival. So that's what happens.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted Dimeji to share his experience, but yeah, I don't know whether you can hear me. Yeah, I think we've exhausted all the questions. Is there anyone that I've not attended to in particular? And is there still anything burning that you like to talk about?
Sorry, just to be clear, the meeting with our mentors is gonna be remote, right?
Yes, remote, and if by any means you want to see your mentor physically, please arrange with him or her. He would tell you when the comfortable time is. But then remote work, you can't see me physically now, but I have my video on, and then we can always have this conversation. But yeah, if by any means you want a physical session, then please arrange with your mentor.
Sorry, when does the project start officially? Can we start making payments to Ivy League as of next week? Or when does it officially start?
It has started today.
Okay.
And you are the one delaying the process now. We always like to have maybe an average of 5 people to start. Once I have an average of 5 people that have indicated payment, we begin the journey. So yeah, officially the school has opened today.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I think I have a lot of other mentors on the call. Lola, can you hear me? I see you on the call.
Yes, I did too. I can hear you. I've listened with rapt attention.
Yes.
Well done.
Welcome. Thank you so much. So please, if you have questions, Lola is also on the call. It's not just me that can answer your questions. And I know Dimeji is still somewhere on the call too. So yeah. So,
sorry, please, can we change
our
topic?
Can you what?
Can we? Yeah, so we said we should pick a topic and then make payments and then we'll be allocated to a mentor. But I'm assuming that there are some things, some criteria that we have not, we as inexperienced doing this for the first time and hopefully the only time, would not take into consideration when making that topic choice. So I want to know if we choose a topic, then we get assigned to a mentor and then they kind of give us more understanding of what it entails. If there is a possibility of saying, oh, okay, I think this is much better for me, and would that then affect could lead to like a reallocation to a different mentor, or what is that process like?
No, so you won't, there's none of our mentors that cannot handle the 20 topics we have. None. All the 20 topics that we have, all our mentors can work on it. Yes, what you said happens when people have, and that's why we always put our first meeting early, just in case you need to change your mind as to the topic that you need to do on time. This is an assignment that the media had given to you, but I decided to quickly go back to it. What you need to do before you meet your mentor: background reading, self-analysis of your strengths and weakness, identify possible approved project topic areas and or organization. Those are the things that you need to do before you meet your mentor. Now you will see that cycle, right? After you meet your mentor, you can then finalize your topic and then determine a timetable. So yes, we know it's interwoven. So that's why that day, if you see the timeline we've addressed, assigned, the first meeting and the mentor allocation is somewhat aligned. So if you need to change your mind, by all means, after engaging with your mentor, if more information comes to light, you believe that you can do this better, then yes, by all means, you can change. There's none of our mentors that cannot handle any of the topics that we have. And if on an extreme case, there is a need to reallocate you to a new mentor, we will do that as well.
Okay, sorry, please, just one last question. Yeah, so like, is there? So I started my ACCA journey in Nigeria, but then I'm currently in Scotland now pursuing my masters, and I don't know, because I know ACCA has certain programs or stuff for like people in less developing countries like Nigeria and stuff. I don't know if this falls under that, and it might change in residency affect my qualification for this program.
Oh no, anybody can be anywhere. We actually have mentors that are not domiciled in Nigeria as we speak, and we are all on the score. So yes, your change in location does not, remember the word is a global place. So it doesn't affect all you just need is to agree timing with your mentor. And then no one anywhere knows that you are doing this for maybe Scotland or UK, or maybe you're in Canada or anywhere. Just commit to it, agree timelines with, so the only thing that could be, so for example, the timing in Canada, the timing in Nigeria is not exactly aligned. So you might need to agree when some of those conversations can be held. But yeah, anywhere in the world, it's a global place. We can have conversations.
All right, thank you.
Okay, will I take that as all, or does Simply J and Ken they still have questions?
Okay, yeah, please, I have a question. Can I start activities now?
Can you start what? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Okay, can I start the mentoring program now? So I get a mentor, I start working on the project, but I work towards the next submission deadline. That will be next year. Is that possible?
Okay, Lola, please, would you take that?
Sure, I'll be happy to take that. Unfortunately, that won't be very efficient. Given that if you start now, let's assume you're using a company with that you need to rely on financial statements. So if you start now, what you'd have to work with will be financial statements, for maybe year ended 2021. But by the time you want to submit next year, then the 2022 financial statement will be out. So that means it will translate to a rework. If you want to do that, we're happy for you, but only that you need to pay twice. You pay for this round, and then your submission round, you need to also pay again. So that's what like when I say payment, payment to Ivy League will need to be twice, because you would practically be reworking. So your best bet is to put your best foot forward. Know that, okay, do you have that time to spare now? If you don't have the time to spare now, it's advisable you wait till the next submission period. Yes.
Absolutely. So yes, please, you can wait till the next submission. We'll still be available to support you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. I hope I'm not missing anyone out. Hello. I hope I've taken all your questions. Just in case I've missed you out. Okay. Go ahead.
So the invitation, without me going for graduation, can I still have my BSc?
Oh yes, by all means. Your certificate will be emailed to you as fast as you have completed. Once you complete your studies, you get your physical certificate to whatever address you populate in the system. No issues. You get the soft copy and you get the hard copy as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So you really do not, if you can't afford the expense of going to school to graduation, by all means, you get your certificate.
Okay, but for the MSc, I do have to go, right?
There's no one you have to. It's not compulsory.
Continue.
There's no school where they'll say it's compulsory for you to come. No, it's not.
Okay.
If you can't make it,
thank you.
Your certificate will be available to you. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I think that at this point, we may just be drawing the curtain. Let's just take final words from you, Lola.
All right, thank you. It's been a very great session, having you on this call, every one of you. We look forward to working with you. Like Tutu and Dimeji had said, we have your interest at heart, would work with you to ensure that but before I say we work with you, we expect you to put your best foot forward, and then we would, like you Tutu said in Yoruba, motoba shikwa. But be rest assured that we have your interest at heart. We are very committed to moving you forward, to ensuring that you deliver a top notch reports and projects. Thank you and all the very best. We look forward to seeing you on board.
Yes, we look forward to seeing everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah,
bye from us.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.